I decided to voice over this just because I haven't voiced over a lot and it'll be easier to explain than to type. So on this day, she didn't really like the bridle on her nose. She was fine once it was like in her mouth and on her ears, but just trying to put it on, she kept pulling away and backing up. So you can see me praising her here. I was just focusing on getting it on her nose, and once it was on there, after she stopped backing up, right there, when she puts her head down, and I know that she's not gonna mute, like back up or anything, I roared her. So we did this for a couple days just because she was pretty skeptical about the bridle, but she's been doing good now. It just takes a second to get it in her mouth because she still is a little skeptical about it being on her nose. And right there, she stopped backing up, so I wait a few seconds and then release. So again, just making sure she's okay with it on her nose, and she does good, so I go ahead and decide to just put it in her mouth. She does fight me a tiny bit, but that's just because she's had it in her mouth before and she knows what it is, and I think she's just a little uncomfortable, but I just stick with her, and eventually I do get it in her mouth and I slip it over her ears. It is a one airhead stall, which I figured would be more comfortable for her since she is a baby and new to bridling. And as always, lots and lots of pets. She is such a cuddle bug. I did go ahead and take it out of her mouth just to give her a release, and I went to go put it back in, and this is where she really started to fight me. I think she had just had enough, so I just stuck with her again, told her that I would stop when she stops, and eventually I did get it in her mouth after a little bit of tussling and fighting. But I got it eventually, and then this, I think I just left it on for the rest of the day, or about an hour or so. So this is her getting used to it and just chewing on it, which is all perfectly normal because she is a baby and she's not quite used to having a bit in her mouth. And you can kind of see here, it's not too loose that you can't eat her tongue over it, but it could definitely be tighter, so I went ahead and poked another hole in it. A few days before, I put it in her mouth and just left it there because I figured I barely got it in this time. I don't think I'm gonna get it in again, but she's doing so much better. I think this was a few days later. I was just lunging her to get some of her energy out, and you can see she definitely had a lot of it. She was being extra speedy this day. Again, making her just get out of my space. She tends to do that on the right side. I always make sure to go both ways. Usually I go right, left, but I think I only went left once and right once this day, but it was also, the arena was kind of soupy and I didn't want to wear her out too much, so I just lunged her a tiny bit. You can see her getting speedy. This was her standing tied after I lunged her, pacing and all of this. That's all perfectly normal. Cribbing, she starts cribbing, and then she also starts pawing, which again, it is all normal. She is a baby. I don't think she's ever been tied for as long as I've been tying her for. I've been tying her for 30 to 45 minutes every day, or every time I lunge her, just for her to get used to standing there. I am getting onto her though because I don't want her to develop any bad habits. But after a while, she stands good, so then I untie her and grain her. This was actually last night, and she is wearing her brother's saddle pad because hers is in the wash. But she was being a little testy, trying to pull away. I would ask her to go on the circle, and all she would want to do is turn her head and pull away. So I just made her run. I'm not hitting her hard at all. If I'm tapping her, it's very light, and I'm mostly hitting the ground behind her to make a noise and get her to go. And then I wasn't gonna hose her off, but she was extra sweaty, so I just went ahead and hosed her off. It was a couple hours until it got super chilly out, so she would be okay. I am taking longer to put first rides on, but I also don't have a saddle to ride her in because I don't want to put my good one on her since I use that for Khalil, but the one I'm using on her is a 13-inch and mine's a 15, so I'm just trying to find a synthetic. I was debating on going bareback for her first ride, but I would really rather have a saddle horn in case she starts bronking. I'm sure putting my saddle on would be okay, but I don't want to risk anything because that is my good saddle that I rodeo in. I obviously don't know that she's going to start bronking or bucking, but that's not really something I want to risk, especially not in my good saddle in case she flips over on herself. So I think I'm just gonna wait a little longer, see if I can get a synthetic one, or if I feel comfortable enough in my saddle on her, because I cannot ride in that little 13-inch. Well, thank you for watching and stay tuned for more.